Hi guys, Anel Tunes here, professional mixing and mastering engineer from Africa, basically dealing with African music. In this video, we're going to look at a more advanced EQ approach to mastering. Those who haven't watched my previous video on EQ and tape saturation, feel free to look through my channel. And today I'm introducing a new topic called Midside EQ. I'm using FabFilter Pro Q3, their latest EQ, just to show that you could use any EQ that you have as long as it sounds good for you. Please feel free to enjoy that. And again, we're dealing with the same song we've been dealing with. Let's just have a listen to the song.
Let me buy something for your mother. My girl, you know me better when I have.
Song produced and performed by Casey, a very young talent, very beautiful song right there. Now, what we mean by mid-side, first of all, before you understand mid-side, you must understand what we call left and right. So we always hear the word stereo. Very many people, even some producers, think that stereo are the hi-hats. You hear someone saying, that song doesn't have enough stereo. And what they're trying to imply are the hi-hats. You understand? Like that the sibling says in the song that. So they think that's stereo. Actually, that's not stereo. Stereo simply means left and right, as in two channels. And mono means singular, one. There are no two channels. Stereo means two. The mono signal is split into two. Now, when you split the mono signal into two, there is a point somewhere in the middle where the left channel meets the right channel. Now, that same place where the left and right meet is called the mid. Okay? And at the extreme ends, or extreme left and extreme right, those are called the sides of the recording. I hope you're together. So now, let me solo a part here. For example, now this one here is, on this particular EQ, this is where I select the mid side. So on your EQ, find where you select it from. So here I've selected only the middle part of this particular recording. So if I'm to play it, let's try to listen to the difference. So when I solo here and then play.
Let me buy something for your mother. My girl.
You hear that? And now if I select, now that's the mid. If I select the sides, you're going to hear how they sound. You hear the difference? If you understand this concept of mid-side processing, then you'll have a more control over the recording. You can make amazing adjustments. And this is the technique that pros use to make the sound come out so wide and big. You can see a song coming, beginning maybe not so much exciting, and in the chorus it goes big. You feel the song is so wide and exciting. And this is the technique or the principle that that we pros use. Okay, so now first and foremost, like I said, before I boost anything, I first try to look for problematic frequencies. So now I want us to first look at the sides, or rather at the mid signal. Most information is found in the mid. So anything you touch in the mid, it will affect the sound so much. But on the sides, it's rarely, only maybe you're dealing with EDM music that is so wide, they make the song so wide and the information is so much out there on the left and right, maybe. But most songs, remember, for example, the vocal sits in the middle, the bass sits in the middle. The mid-lows are always center. Rarely do we boost or push the lows to go to left and right. They always keep them mono. So just take note that every time you touch the mid frequencies, you're really playing with a lot of information. So that's why let's look for some problematic frequencies here. I'll just solo this and play. Right there, I feel that frequency it's piercing. Now, right there, you may hear as if it's not too much, but remember, after this EQ, we're going to use compression. We're going to use a limiter. Now that will bring the audio up. Okay, it will sound louder, and now those frequencies will all jump out in your face if you don't deal with them before you go to the limiting stage. So I feel that doesn't sound good, so I'll just cut it a bit. I'll do a 1.3 dB cut. Then I'll look for another frequency. Remember, we are dealing with the middle. For example, this is the mid part, and the sides of this particular same frequency are not touched. This is how they sound. Like that. I hope you've heard them. Remember, we are dealing with the mid. So here again, I'll go to the middle and look for some of the nasty frequencies in the middle. There's a whistle-like frequency there. It's very tiny. I'll make this Q very narrow and bring it down a little bit to around 2. Okay, then let's look again for some. Let me buy something for your mother, my girl. Right there. I'll also pull that out just a little bit. You see, I'm making very narrow cues, and I'm really cutting just little. I'm making very small cuts, not more than 2 dB. If you realize, I'm settling so much into this frequency, because this is where, in an audio material, this is where the harshness comes from. We really need to be very careful on this harshness right there. So again, I'll make another point and look for something. I don't find any problem there. Also in the highs, the mixing I think was good. I don't hear. I'm really not finding problems there. Let me just try to go lower and sweep through to find. Remember, we are dealing with the middle frequencies. We're not in the sides. Now you hear, as we go lower, the signal gets more prominent, simply because the lower frequencies are mainly in the center. Even in the making of these instruments, they normally sit in the center. So I feel there's something there, but I may not have to pull it down a lot, since though you hear it's too much. There's another technique we shall look at, which is called dynamic processing, whereby if we can set a signal and say if it goes beyond this cut, the compressor will kick in that particular frequency only and pull it down a little bit more. That's a topic for another day, but now we're just dealing with EQ. So I'll just pull it down to 1.3 dB. Okay, remember, I'm not taking out much, though it was more prominent than these ones here. So I'm only taking out 1.3 dB simply because in those frequencies, it's the mid that is mainly the point. They normally play in the mid. That's how we find the frequencies that are really disturbing using mid-side processing. Remember, we are only dealing with the mid. So let's try to play the audio, and I bypass the EQ and see how we're doing more harm than good. Let me buy something for your mother, my girl. You know me better. When I have you, girl, I'm greater. Yeah, my day is brighter. Let me buy something for your mother. You realize there is that little harshness that has really come out, that we've pulled out. When I put the EQ off, you feel the vocal comes a little bit louder, but with some harsh frequencies. So, but when I apply the EQ, the vocal tends to sit back just a little, but you feel it's more comfortable. Meaning that even on high volumes, the vocal won't pierce your ears. And you realize it is very much affected simply because we're dealing with the mid frequencies. And dealing with the mid signal, you're touching mainly the vocals. The vocals sit in the mid. You'll get cases whereby we have backups and they're panned left, maximum left or hard right. And you won't get so much effect by treating the mid. in such a scenario. But for this scenario, we're dealing with the lead vocal, which is in the middle. We want it to still stand out, but we don't want it to be harsh into our ears. So that's how we deal with it. We just go and deal with these small things. Remember, you see, I'm really cutting very small. I'm really making very small curves, kicking out very small notches, simply because this is how mastering is. If you find yourself, you have to really pull this down to this level. This is around 14 dB. Just know there's something wrong. There is something wrong. You have to go back to the mix and deal with it. Okay? You have to go back to the mix and deal with it. So that's why I normally cut small, like 1 dB, 0.9 dB around there when dealing with mastering. So if you have to pull like 4 dB, 8 dB, go back to the mix and deal with those frequencies at the mixing level. Okay? So we're dealing with the mid. That's how we've done the mid. And I'll continue with Midside EQ in my next video. And now tunes once again. See you in my next video.